So on today's episode, we want to start with an opening question. What is puberty?
Do you understand what your body goes through during puberty?
So maybe that's something that we can answer at the end of the podcast.
Hey guys, this is Table 44. This is your boy Stefan, and welcome back to another episode on the podcast. Today we are talking about puberty and how can our parents have this conversation without embarrassing us. We are going to at least try. And Adrian, can you tell us more about this episode?
Yeah, I think I can do that. What's going on, listeners? It's me, Adrian. On today's episode, we'll be talking about Disney's movie Turning Red, along with other examples of puberty and adolescence. Learning about adolescence and answering some health-related questions. We are not talking about the birds and the bees. Well, not yet. Are you guys ready?
Yes!
Cue the music!
Hey guys, this is Stefanie.
This is Andre.
This is Adrian.
This is your boy Stefan.
And this is
Table for Four, a family conversation podcast.
So Table for Four has some special announcements. Stefan, why don't you start us off?
The month of May is here, and that means school is almost over.
The month of May also includes mental health awareness, and we will be having a special episode with the men to discuss mental health, so that will be a very exciting episode.
And May is also when we celebrate Mother's Day. So we want to wish all the mothers out there a very, very special
Mother's
Day.
And also, this week is Teachers Appreciation Week. I want to thank all the teachers for all their hard work and dedication.
And May is also Asian Pacific Islander History Month, which highlights the beautiful and rich culture for the entire month of May. Which also brings us to talking about the beautiful Disney movie called Turning Red.
Ooh.
So remember the question we asked in the beginning of the episode? We wanted to know about puberty. So as parents, we have the difficult task of talking about puberty, adolescence, and eventually sex education. Well, not for today. Not for today. So not so long ago, the school sent an email to asking us permission to let you guys have sex education.
Yep.
So they sent us
eighth graders.
So they gave the email to us and we had to give, we had to grant permission. So as a health professional, I was all for it. I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed about.
No.
So
I started mine's in sixth grade. He started his in fifth, so he's like a year earlier than everybody.
I mean, I remember back in the days that we had the substitute teachers coming with these big tube TVs that were strapped on the wheels and rolling in.
And that old VHS tape from the 80s.
VHS coming in and was like, oh, what are we going to watch today? And it ended up just being one sex tape. And that was the whole base of the education.
No, but ours, it showed like the Caucasian female with the blonde hair, with the thick poofy hair. The men had the thick mustache with the bushy chest.
Oh my God. That was our sex education. That was the extent of it. But I guess we want to know, how did that go for you boys? Yeah. Adrian, you go first.
Yeah. Okay, so for my experience, they were just like explaining everything. Not like there wasn't a video, but it was more of just like a slideshow explaining the stuff. They were just like, I think they just had like the stuff on the board and they were reading the stuff that was on the board. They showed us pictures as well of like birth as well. And like, what is it called? It's been a while. When like, I forgot what it's called.
What did they go over with you in sex ed?
Different ways of birth.
Different ways of birth, and what else? What else did they talk about?
I remember what it is.
What was it?
It was called a C-section.
Oh, okay.
That's different.
Wasn't it like I don't know, but it's confusing. But I think wasn't it like a C-section something for like after the pregnancy?
It's during the pregnancy. So it's basically, I'll give you the easy answer. It's when a mother can't give birth naturally. they'll make an incision below the waistline to get the baby out.
Usually it could be one or two things. The C-section can be elective, meaning that it was by the mother's choice to go ahead to do the procedure.
Or is it an emergency?
Or if it was an emergency. So sometimes if the baby is not properly positioned, or if there's an emergency, the baby's, the cord is around the neck, or the mother's blood pressure is too high. Those are some of the things that might... Or the
baby didn't rotate enough.
Or the baby was breech or things like that. So those are many different, different scenarios that could attribute to why a C-section is performed. But either way, either if it was elective or emergency, it's still a process, whether you give birth naturally or through C-section. What's your question?
Did you guys go through C-section?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Mommy pushed you guys out.
Lord have mercy.
God.
But what I want to focus is when it comes to puberty and to adolescence and things like that, what are some of the changes that you've seen in your own bodies? So we're trying to answer the question, what is puberty? So what do you think puberty is? Or what was your understanding of it? Like once you had the sex education class, like how was that for you understanding?
I thought it was terrifying.
Was it? Okay.
I just thought it was just really just unexpected because I just didn't think it would just come out of nowhere. Because you guys are talking about it, but I didn't think it would happen so soon. But
what do you mean?
But you're at the age now, between the ages of 12 to 17, 18.
Well,
your body's going to go through changes.
Yeah, it usually starts a little bit earlier than that.
For females.
Right, for females. But for males, 9 to 16, that's usually when a lot of the changes start, between growing body hair and seeing your testicles.
The voice, I think the first thing that starts...
I think it's the voice, right?
Every male is different. Because I've had classmates young, and their voice is like so deep.
Define young.
Like 9, 10 years old,
that had
almost
deep
11.
Voices.
They had deep voices, yeah. But you could hear the change in the voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time I got to like 5th or 6th grade, some kids had a mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they lied about their birth certificates. But
what do you mean they lied about their birth certificates?
Because we had one guy in our class that had like a mustache and everything.
I have one.
At such a young age. No, like he was very thick. Like you could tell, like
what you got
profound.
on right now.
Yeah. Like
boy. I mean, again, there was some girls that had mustaches, and I was one of them. So that's what puberty did for me. So I'm just thinking about it. Like, if you're trying to understand the changes in your body, the first thing that I noticed right away was Adrian having acne, and that to me, that happened literally overnight.
Yeah, in the last couple of weeks.
That happened in the last couple of weeks.
It's not a bad case.
What I'm saying is that's how hormones are changing. And then now this whole thing turns into something that happened literally overnight.
Yeah.
So you look excited.
I wonder how to treat acne.
It's not about treating acne. What I'm saying is it's because you are going through puberty now, and these are the things that are happening. Those are the changes that are happening. What are some of the things that we can help you? So we can help you understand what are the changes that you are going through. If you have any questions.
I don't think I have any questions. I'm just going to just let it be.
Well, I told you could use my face cream.
Right. But again, the other thing that we also mentioned is the armpits. One of two things. You have to be comfortable with your body. That's number one.
I am.
And the other thing is you have to be able to be honest with yourself if you have any medical issues or if you have self-image issues. Now, again, May is men's mental health awareness month. So it not only affects men, but it also affects women. So that's why it's so important when we talked about turning red focuses on a girl, but the same situations are applicable to boys. So opening up about this conversation is never easy, but is a necessary conversation. So Andres, why don't you tell us a little bit more about puberty when you were growing up?
In my case, growing, I couldn't talk to my mom about puberty because she was never home. My mom wasn't home. So I kind of had to no, we never have this conversation. It was always like, you better protect yourself, this and that. But it was never like the puberty conversation, the sexual educational stuff. It was never like that. So I had to rely on, on my friends' parents, on their dads to kind of guide me in that direction of puberty and what your body's going through when at the ages when you're going through changes.
Really? So you never had a conversation with him?
No, because at one point I remember like my friends like, oh, your armpits stink, you have to wear some deodorant. I'm like, what's deodorant? Because like nobody told me about deodorant.
Really?
Yeah. Same thing about like acne. We had to learn the hard way. Like, yeah.
What's the hard way?
The hard way is like, I used to make fun of people. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get you pie face and all the pimples in their face. And next, I wake up overnight. Boom, same thing. Like he did, like Adrian did. Wake up overnight. I have pimples. I have acne now.
Why are you making fun of people with pimples on their face?
Because my face was so clean at the time, at that age. And then around like, but I didn't get acne until I was in high school. Almost like my junior and senior year.
Really?
Yeah.
That's late.
That's late.
Really
I got hit with the acne late.
You got hit with the acne late.
But
Okay.
but then also.
But it's like what you said before that, everybody's different.
Yeah, everybody's different. But like my thing was and especially like when you're in school, you notice everyone else around you. I was always a chubby kid in middle school, elementary school. And then you see all my other friends, so when I got to like high school, shoot up in height.
Okay.
So they had the growth spurt.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get my growth spurt until high school also. Like but I was always the chubby kid in elementary school and middle school.
Okay.
And then when I got to high school, that's when I started playing sports, and then I started losing weight, and then I started growing.
You became more active.
Right. I was more active, and then I was thin. I wasn't obese, but I was like almost where the weight that I needed to be at my age.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Your height to weight ratio.
Yeah, my height to weight ratio.
Okay. That you met the charts.
I met the charts.
You met the standards.
I didn't meet the standard because I'm Spanish.
You stupid.
I had that Spanish weight going.
Oh my God. But talking about Disney movies. Now, Disney movies always has a great setup. Now, the setup is it's always more family orientated, and there's always usually a message that they want to convey in that movie. So just talking about Turning Red, it focuses on a girl, 13-year-old girl called Maymay, and she literally turns into a red panda. Now, that is significant on one or two levels. For a girl, turning red might mean several things. So turning red can mean what?
Well, I think we all know what that means.
What does it mean?
It means like periods.
Periods?
Well, I think that's the most common thing that people would say, because like, turning red.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another scene in the movie, like the beginning of it, was like he was like mom and like something with red or something, and then she bring like pads and like
the tampons and
because she thought she was having a period.
Right.
Because for girls it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's a big deal, especially like growing up. I'm pretty sure you probably your mom never told you from the age 1 through 8 or 9, 10. She never mentioned it at all.
Right. No.
And then the minute you have it, oh my God, like all the red flags go up. Oh my God, you're getting scared, and then your mom's like freaking out, and she's like, babe, I should have talked about this sooner.
No, my mom was actually really cool about it. Like, it was really, I got it early. I think I was like 11. And my mom was like, okay, this is normal. Don't freak out. Because I freaked out. I said, what in the world? Yeah, because
that conversation was never had.
Right.
Until it came.
Why would I have that conversation before? Why would she want to scare me before?
She was too busy letting you have your fun.
What do you mean too busy letting me have my fun? What does that even insinuate? Go to dance school,
have your fun, keep your mind occupied.
I don't know.
I want to add on.
What are your thoughts, Stefan? I think you're going through puberty right now.
I want to.
He's really going through it. Ignoring us, doesn't answer the phone call, doesn't attitude left and right.
I don't have an attitude.
You
just talk back to everything.
You have an attitude.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
For everything.
But I don't get your calls.
We're literally right there next to you. Yo, Stefan. Bye, Stefan.
Does puberty have any effect on hearing? I think it does. I really truly think it does. But again, like when trying to think about the message from this movie, you are trying to navigate through this world while all this is happening, going to school.
All these changes
are happening all at once. So how did you relate to the main character in terms of like her difficulty in school? Like, what was a scene that you related to or something?
Well,
that
but she was the goody two shoes in school, though.
Which is not his case.
It's not where.
Got it.
Can't relate.
Can't relate.
Stop. I don't really have a scene I can relate to be honest. But actually, I have nothing. I don't think there's anything I can relate to. I don't know.
I don't think that they could relate like the way me and you could relate to the movie.
Why? Why is that?
Because they don't have overbearing parents that are constantly on top of them. Well, we are, but not as much as like they are. You know, like May had to like kind of live up to a standard of her mother. Her mother had high expectations to be perfect. We never had that. I never had that expectation to be perfect or like, you know, but yes, my family was involved like in terms of discipline, like towards the middle of the movie when all the aunts came over to try to, you know, rectify the situation. My family was like that because all my aunts had inputs on if my brother and I did something bad. You know, we gotta nip this in the butt right now.
I would love an example.
No, it was just my brother and I, you know, we always did, you know, mischievous stuff.
Right, but does puberty have anything to do with that?
Probably.
Why do you say that?
Because we're boys, and we're boys, you know, we're boys.
It's not an excuse.
We kind of like intrigue on different things and always like, we always...
Okay, so as parents, right? So if we're trying to explain...
We're always exploring.
Okay.
With our hands.
Okay. So if you're thinking about puberty, right, and you're thinking about how you're going through all these changes, how do you feel about talking to us about it? Like, are you scared to talk about it? Are you scared?
I'm not scared. I'm fully open to it if you guys want to talk about it. Because I don't really mind talking about it, but like I don't really mind actually at all. Because like you guys want to talk about it, I don't mind.
We're talking about it right now, bro.
I don't mind.
But do you come up to us with your issues?
Do you come up to us and say, "Hey, this is what's been going
Dad, on? My voice is changing. What's going on?" You're not coming up to me. Hey, Dad, I need to order it. My armpit stinks. You don't come up to me.
I just let it happen. You know?
How you let it happen? I gotta keep telling you, your armpits stink, bro.
Not the armpits.
Get away from me.
You come in for a hug, and I'm like, I'm ready to faint.
I'm about to put some lemon on your armpits.
You can't even smell. You're still gonna faint.
Yeah, that tells you how powerful the stench is. That my nose is still not where it's at, and I can still smell it. Stefan, what about you? Would you ever feel comfortable telling me about your problems if you have any problems with your body or anything like that?
Probably.
The man of few words, guys. The man of few words. He's.
I don't think any parent is prepared to see their kids going through changes because, like,
it can happen at any moment.
Right. Listening to the past episodes, listening to his change in his voice, it's very noticeable. From the first time we did it from season 1 till now, you see the differences in Adrian's voice. And it shook me a little bit. I was like, oh, man.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like my voice sounds the same.
No, you hear it in your inner ear. But when you hear it on the mic and when you hear it on the episodes, your voice has changed over the last year and a half.
I feel like I was a little bit more higher pitched back in season 1.
Yeah.
Okay, you were a kid. Yeah, you're
still a kid. He's still a kid.
But now he's going into the teen years soon. And the voice is going to be changing. Be like, hey, Dad. Yo, Dad.
You sound like Joe Coy right now, bro. Like, okay, so let me just go break down some of the parts in the movie that I thought it was hilarious. So we're talking about the boy bands, okay? What is it as a young girl going through boy bands? Like my group band was NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. That was
98 Degrees.
98 Degrees, and it's just the groups were hot.
That's what I'm saying. Like this movie was for our era.
Absolutely. But
they had the Tamagotchi.
Right, but it's still relatable. It's the same lessons that are being taught. It's the same lessons that are being spoken of. When there's a time of change in the body, there's a time of emotions, all these things all happening at once. It's still relatable. Why are you making that face? See, attitude, hormones. You're getting on my nerves. You're working my nerves. that's what children do. And as parents, we must control ourselves from not actually choking you.
Wow.
Yes.
I've never heard such vulgar language from
Yes, you
before.
have. Yes, you have.
It's like Homer Simpson. Why you little?
I think a funny scene for me was I just thought like when the concert started and they were like all like thirsting over the boys. It was really funny. Like seriously.
Yeah, and then that's puberty. You know, like all these girls like, oh my God, he's so cute, this and that. And that's when they start figuring out.
They have the hard eyes.
The hard eyes for these boys.
What again to when we talk about just in the medical sense, when it comes to puberty, it is in preparation, how they say it's for sexual maturity. So like your dad mentioned before, is about the voice changes. Sometimes it's always about thinking about all those changes and just recognizing those changes again. So, you know, you would just have to not be embarrassed about it, only because it's something that's completely normal. And you don't have to be embarrassed to talk about it. Especially
I
to
wouldn't
us.
be embarrassed because it changes. If I would definitely go to him to talk about it because like he went through those changes before, so it wouldn't be bad at all.
Right, he would understand it more than I would.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Right, like me, I didn't have any male figures in my house to talk about puberty.
You can be my male figure.
Yeah, I'm your male figure now, but I didn't have a male figure in the house to talk about it. I couldn't come up to my mom and be like, Ma, you know, I got all these different.
Yeah, but why? You didn't do it because you didn't feel comfortable, or like I'm curious. Like, why would you not?
She was never home, and then you know, like
that's not an excuse.
I had nobody to talk to. Like I had to rely on my friends to talk about. That's
not an excuse. She's home. She was not like she was never home. There must have been an opportunity that you could have just sit down and had a conversation.
Probably must have been hard. It probably must have been hard though.
That's impossible.
Because it probably
impossible. Impossible.
My mom was working 6 to like 2 o'clock in the morning. So by the time she got home, she was asleep. She had to wake up and leave again. She would be gone before we even went to school. So we barely even saw her until like Sundays. That's it.
I think it would be hard for him as well.
Okay, so on Sundays, did you have a conversation?
She was
with
asleep. Catch up on sleep. And she would take us to the park and we would go have fun, stuff like that. But we never, you know, like I didn't really talk to my mom about the birds and bees until like late in life. Okay. I was probably like 22 years old.
22?
Yeah, but by then
22?
I was already a young adult.
You were an adult by that time.
Yeah.
22?
And she was cool about it.
I think it must have been hard because like you just didn't expect these changes, you know, because like you just never expected it at like, you know, that moment. So like that actually happened when you were like in your junior year, right? Acne? Yeah.
So and my growth spurt was like, I would say like freshman year, sophomore year, my growth spurt. And they say that you feel it when you're growing because like when you go to sleep, like your legs hurt. Your bones hurt, like your bones hurt.
Okay.
There's another thing as well.
When you go to sleep, you feel that you're hurting.
Yeah, because my body would ache before I go to bed.
That's normal, but like
yeah. So then
everyone always
says like, you feel like you're growing.
Everyone says like yeah, when you go to sleep.
Is that the only thing that's
growing? I want another thing to say is that I think another thing is
that all the bones are growing.
The other bone.
What type of bone? What bone? I wonder what bone you guys are talking about. I have another thing to say as well is that at the beginning of the year, like there was like some tall kids that like I used to think they were so tall, but like as I started going more into the year of the school, I feel like I've grown just a little bit more because the people that were tall to me didn't look as tall anymore. So like I felt like I might have grown just a little bit, you know, longer arms, fatter arms, and just a little bit taller because the people that I used to think that were so tall, they just felt a little shorter now.
I see.
Maybe because
were a lot of those people girls?
No, a lot of them were boys.
Oh, boys. Okay.
There was some. There's some very tall girls, some very tall boys.
Yeah, but then I've also had friends that they never matured from puberty. They're still short. Like when I see them now, like I'm like, oh, they're still short.
That's funny. That's so mean. But I think coming to a realization about how we're trying to have this conversation with you guys as parents is we're just, the whole point is for us to be open. Some other ideas that were given to us was from other movies like Inside and Out. Inside and Out was like another example of a Disney movie that really focused on the internal voice.
Yes. I want to also add on that as well, is because
You mean the movie Inside Out?
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that movie Inside Out.
No.
So basically, five emotions are trying to control Riley, like how she feels or like what she does. What she does.
Now, with those emotions, are those any of those emotions you relate to?
Yeah.
Those core memories. Tell me a little bit more about those core memories.
Those core memories are really effective to what she does because it affects like her skills on hockey. Like how silly she is. Like
it's like part of her personality.
Yeah, but without the core memories, they'll start to fade, and then she won't be able to have like any feelings.
So do you think that's something that's important?
Yeah.
It is important, right? To have that inside voice and to kind of relate to that. How do you relate to that, Stefan? Like, how did you relate to that?
Because I'm energetic.
You're energetic, and what else?
I jump on the couch.
But how does that, like, with your emotions? How does that work for you in your emotions and your core memories? How does that work for you?
Because I'm happy.
Because you're happy. Okay, so if you're happy most of the time, right, that's a good thing, right? That means you're emotionally stable. That means you're emotionally ready and able to enjoy things, right? So it's important that, again, Disney has this amazing way of portraying these stories that everybody as a family can relate to.
Yep.
So, Adrian, what did you want to tell me about?
I wanted to say, like, I think like Riley's like perspective. I think she was going through depression. I feel like she was definitely going through like some sort of that, because like it wasn't, sadness wasn't there, because sadness would make her feel sad, but then also happiness wasn't there as well. So like I think it would kind of contribute to like maybe feeling depressed, because like she was literally gonna leave her home and like never ever come back. So like I think when she started to find that happiness again and also sadness, it all like clicked together,
But what was the message from the movie? What was your understanding?
I think the understanding was like you can go through a lot of emotions and like just have different feelings of all the time, because like she was definitely going through a lot, because
She was going through puberty.
Yeah, she was.
What do they call it? Puberty? Is that how they said it incorrectly? There was like, they asked it at the end of the question about puberty. So what happened was having those different emotions, having that rush of all those things, the mixture.
Adrenaline?
Well, they say puberty.
Puberty, right? Is that what it's called, right?
Puberty.
Puberty, right?
Puberty.
When
they say puberty.
Oh, puberty. Sorry.
So when you go into puberty, it's high. It messes with all your internal emotions and all your senses and everything. So now, and especially when you're trying to internalize all these things, like you don't know which voice to listen to,
right? Because you're still so young.
Yeah, you're still so young. So in the movie Inside Out, happiness was that happiness?
No, her name is Joy.
Joy was pretty much trying to look at the fun and everything. Meanwhile, trying to push away sadness, away anger, and all this stuff. But meanwhile, you need all those all those emotions to find balance,
connect,
and to connect.
Actually, because
homeostasis. I'm gonna throw a big word.
Homeostasis. That's a big word.
That's a big word.
Hold my throat. I think another thing is like she was trying to push everything away just to be happy. It's like, I feel like, is there like a certain thing where like you can only be happy or something most of the time?
There are mental diseases that can affect your stability. You have bipolarism. You have other mental disabilities that can, hone in.
Stop it. That's creepy.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Happy all the time.
So happy.
Again, that's why in the month of May, it's super, super important to talk about mental awareness. It's so important to get those emotions in check. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to ignore those feelings, like some of the feelings that have been, displayed in the movie. The goal is always to find balance. You cannot be always happy. You cannot be always sad. You cannot always be,
always
angry.
Everyone's always different all the time.
When you say always, that's absolute. It does not apply. It's not applicable to the human emotion. It's not. It can't. So puberty has a unique way of mixing that all in a bowl at one time.
Make it to a cake.
All at once, which can be difficult to make adjustments to. So...
And you still go through it, like growing up, even as an adult now, like you still have those mixed emotions all the time. Like you said, you can't be happy, you can't be sad. There's times where
it's always different.
It'll be like a good run. I'll be happy for a couple months. Mm-hmm. Here or there, have a little sadness and that, but then it'll be like another week will go by and I'm just like miserable, depressed all week.
Right.
Start thinking all these different things about the past and all this stuff. Like it's something that you can't avoid.
But do you think
but it's just, like you said, having balance. It's
about having balance. But do you think that as adults that we have the same, I don't know, issues, or I'm trying to find the right word. As adults, do you think that we go through the same thing as children do? That they're trying to find themselves through puberty, or because we are older, that we're not necessarily going through puberty, but that we're going through a different set of stages now.
Yeah, now we're aging.
I don't think it.
So now we have to mentally prepare ourselves.
For what?
For the inevitable.
For death.
I don't think you guys can relate, because since we're a lot younger than you guys, and also like we're going through like changes that you guys have already been through already.
Right. Yes, right. You guys are right now discovering who you are as individuals.
Really?
That's the whole process of puberty.
So
part of the process.
So now what I will do is I'll explain a little bit to you in terms of psychology, in terms of mental stability and things like that. There's a few of them. The first one I'll discuss really quickly is called Erik Erikson. So Erik Erikson, he breaks down life stages into 8 different stages. So the first stage is trust and mistrust. That's just a simple... When we're young, this is what we're learning. So we're taking those steps and trying to figure out who do we trust and who do we do not trust. The next stage in our lives is autonomy versus shame and doubt. So this is how we're trying to figure out ourselves. And autonomy means having the ability to make decisions by ourselves.
Yeah,
on our own, right? So stage 3 is called initiative versus guilt. Initiative is also us trying to find our way in the world, but feeling guilty about doing things that make us happy. So that's another stage that you can think about, but it also takes into consideration with puberty at that point too. Then next you have industry versus inferiority. So again, this is about developing those stages as becoming an adult. You're growing out of those teen ages and you're moving forward. The next is identity versus confusion. So identity has a lot to do with finding yourself, and confusion meaning, well, I don't know how I fit. A lot of that goes into gender and to sexuality. So a lot of that is a very confusing stage because not a lot of people know what's going on during that time. The next set of stages is called intimacy versus isolation. This is where we find ourselves in relationships where we're trying to figure out how do we find intimacy, which is maybe more our age group, meaning and finding a relationship and finding commitment. And the last stage for Erik Erikson is about stagnation. So a lot of stagnation is really about reaching the end. It's like almost preparing ourselves, like what have we done all our lives to get to this point? So it's also about now that we're stuck. So what we've done all this, and now stagnation comes in. It's like, what do we do? What do we do next? What's next? So what's the next part is like us preparing for death. So
I thought it would be like acceptance.
It is. It is
accepting the inevitable.
It's accepting the inevitable.
Because like acceptance isn't like you're accepting your fate for the final last time.
that last final stage is really about
your purpose in life.
Your purpose in life.
It's basically like a reflection of what you've done and what you didn't do.
Right.
And have you fulfilled your purpose here
on Earth. Right.
And one thing we could say is like, with our grandpa Chico, he lived to like, I think
89, right?
80 something years old. And
really?
Yeah. And he had colon cancer late in life, around 70 years old, whatever. They only told him he only had 6 months, but he lasted like
4 years.
almost like, like it's probably like 8 years, probably. I think I can't recall, but he kind of accepted his fate.
Right.
Like he kind of like, was prepared, for the inevitable.
Yeah, but I think that comes with wisdom too, and I think it comes with
being
age.
a boomer back in the 20s and stuff. He kind of like was content with his life.
Yeah.
He said, one thing he told us was that he was glad to see the invention of the train, the car, the planes. He was happy to be a part of that growing up and just to see the evolution of technology and how it evolved. So it was, and he kind of reflected on that, and plus his kids and grandkids and stuff like that. So
It is.
And great grandkids.
Yeah, great grandkids and stuff. So he's like, he was happy and content with his life.
Yeah.
And how it turned out.
And that's the beautiful part of learning about stages and learning and going through life. And I think that Disney has a beautiful way of highlighting situations and highlighting stories, especially movies like Turning Red, Inside and Out. And another one, I think it was the one with the brothers. I forgot what was the name of the other one with the brothers. But again, like as parents, we're trying to make that conversation easier for you so that you don't go through what Andres went through, like what daddy went through, not having somebody to talk to or not being comfortable enough with your body to say, hey, listen, I have an issue. So coming to the end of the episode, what is puberty? You think you gentlemen can answer that question?
I think puberty is a lot of unexpected changes that come in your way. It's like a path. It's like an obstacle course because it's so many things you have to go through at once.
That's life, bro.
Yeah, that's life.
That's life. That's life. What do you think puberty is?
Puberty is like the change in your body. Hair growing in, like enlargement of your privates.
So hair growing in your privates. Okay. What else?
No, it's like more hair growing into your body.
Okay.
And the enlargement of your private.
The enlargement of your privates. You could say it. It's a medical term. Go ahead.
I don't want to.
You don't want to?
He's like, I'll pass.
Okay.
Muscle growth.
Ooh, muscle. Okay. Muscle growth. And what else?
Acne.
So acne was what your brother just recently went through, right?
Yeah, and facial hair.
And facial hair. And what else?
Pubic hair.
Pubic hair. Okay. That's the hair in the...
Listen, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to find like a whole bush under there. Like, what is that?
There's also voice cracks as well.
There's what?
Deepening
voice
of the
crack.
voice.
Yeah, deepening of the voice.
Deepening of the voice.
Pubic hairs.
Growth spurt.
Growth spurts. That was what your dad was talking about before, right? That all of a sudden one night you just go...
Yeah, and there was some of my friends that, once summer came, once you saw them back in September, boom, they're like 6 feet tall.
They were living their best life.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And, thinking about how this conversation started, again, it's really about having you guys, you boys, feeling comfortable about your bodies and being comfortable about how you feel in your body and being able to express that. And that's why it's so important. Again, mental health plays a huge part in that. And all we want to do is offer you support. That's all we want to do.
Yes.
So remember, puberty, fact, number one.
You throwing facts? Okay.
Yeah, we're throwing facts.
Okay.
Your body goes through changes, right? Fact. Number two, you're getting ready for reproduction. That's probably the main reason for puberty.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about
fact?
Why people have sex?
No.
Not in this episode.
For the population of the human species. That's it. Boom.
Yeah, like their periods.
And what about periods? What about them?
Like,
why do they happen?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still regretting them, so I don't know.
Because you both had sex before us to give birth to us?
Right. Obviously.
Okay. Are you gonna do sex ed with us?
I don't know.
Not right now.
Not right now.
I know.
Y'all already had sex ed in your school, so we had that covered.
I'm good.
Your brother said he's good.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. I think one thing is that it's just unexpected. At least we're like self-aware about it because like because like if you guys didn't tell us, you wouldn't be able to like, oh, what's happening? Hey, Daddy, can you help me with this? Hey, I'm starting to go here down there, you know. Or like, oh, my muscles got a lot bigger, you know. My muscles got a lot bigger. Or like, just like, you know, I got really tall. I got really tall, you know. So yeah.
You are a fool.
Yeah, I am a fool.
You are a fool.
Anyway,
Born a fool, always a fool.
I just want to thank you guys for having this conversation with us. I hope you guys have a little bit of better understanding of what about puberty is.
Oh, way better because you got. I mean, I knew what it was. I just didn't know like everything about it. You know.
Well, that's why you have to just read. Read
and talk to us.
Read and talk to us. Yeah.
You talk to me, I just tell you to Google it.
Oh my God, you're the worst.
And why waste 2 seconds
Google
of my
it.
time saying?
Why would you go ahead and say that and Google it?
There's an answer for everything, right? Or
Google
is it
isn't the most-
WebMD?
No, do not go to WebMD. Do not go to WebMD. Everybody's going to think that they have mental diseases and have all these other diseases that they don't have that are non-existent.
Also, I feel like some websites are melodramatic. It's like, oh, hey, I cut my finger. Oh, you're gonna die in 5 days.
Yeah, that's WebMD.
No,
Exactly.
WebMD is not that bad, but please don't go looking for advice at other places. Look for
reliable sources.
Reliable sources, as always.
Yes.
Or like talk to someone, talk to a very close friend of yours, or like someone who's very
or somebody
talented
at school, somebody at school, someone your counselor.
Or like a
You
nurse.
can talk to your nurse.
You can talk to your local nurse at school. They have another, more information about that. Also, I forgot to mention that this week is also Nurses Appreciation Week as well.
So we appreciate you. Yeah.
Well, I'm not a nurse yet, but
Well, we
Almost.
still appreciate you.
thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys.
Love you.
So I just want to thank you guys again, just having this conversation with us, being, very open about it. And Stefan, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what this episode was about and close us out?
well, this episode was about puberty. Well, and we talked about things related to family.
Awesome.
So you can listen to the past episodes about health, culture, stories, and much more. And episodes are released on Wednesdays. Don't forget to watch School Commute Convos on YouTube or Instagram.
We are on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Breaker Radio, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Stitcher, Amazon, Audible, Castro, Podchaser, Pandora, and YouTube, or whenever you listen to your podcast. And do not forget to follow, like, and share on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Table for Four. Catch up with you on the next episode.
Hey, this is Stefanie.
This is Andre.
This is Adrian.
This is your boy, Stefan.
And this is
Table for Four, a family conversation podcast.